Welcome back, guys. So earlier we took a look at the Super Retro-Cade by Retro-Bit. What? And I think they redeemed themselves over the Retro-Bit generations. The Super Retro-Cade, man, it's got an awesome selection of games. The emulation is really good compared to the generations, which just sucked. This is a very viable option for somebody who just wants a plug-and-play system to play some of these awesome games that they might have some nostalgia for. Me, for one, there's tons of games on here that I love, and I definitely see a lot of people jumping on this system. You know, the holidays are almost upon us. It might be a little late, but I definitely see a lot of people picking this up just for the awesome selection of games. Now there's going to be those of us who like to tinker, like to mess around, want more than what you are given. And yes, this has 90 games on it, but there's always going to be somebody, I want more, I want more. And yes, you can easily add more games to this system, very easy. So that's what we are going to take a look at today. I'm going to run you through step by step, which it's very simple, like I said, and then we're going to test some games out. So let's go ahead and get that party started and do what we got to do. Okay guys, so here we are. First step to add games to our Super Retro-Cade is going to be we need an SD card. Any size should do. Small card, you should be able to fit a ton of games on a 4 gig or an 8 gig. Doesn't really matter. I'm using a 16 gig and there's no way I'm going to use all that space adding games. So you're going to need that SD card, an SD card reader, and your PC. So what you're going to need to do is plug in your SD card and then go ahead, access that, and then make a folder on that SD card called Retro-Bit Games. All lowercase, Retro-Bit as one word, and then space games. Pretty simple stuff. And then from there, within that folder, all you're going to do is drag and drop your games. It can't be any more simple. So what I have noticed going through this is NES, Super Nintendo, I need to make sure they are not zipped, so they need to be the original files, and then they work. I tried them zipped, they wouldn't boot up. When I unzipped them, they magically worked, so that's fine for me. They're pretty small files anyway. And then your arcade games, just leave them zipped. You should be fine. And the way you need to look at it is, it might be hit and miss. Everything I've tested, it's been pretty much like 95% of everything I've thrown on it has worked, and worked, just crazy well, like better than I expected. But you could come into compatibility issues, and you might want to try a different ROM version for an arcade game, for example. I haven't had that issue yet, but I could just imagine, maybe there's different, I'm not sure what emulators these are using, what versions, but hey, you could run into that issue. So if you have a game that runs on something else, on a low end, little board computer, little single board computer, just try a different ROM version and you should be good. So let's go ahead and peep these out and see what to do on the actual system. Alright, so back on our system, what we're going to do is go ahead and pop in our SD card into the back of the system. And then it's going to pop up with this SD card mounted. Please select data storage, local storage, or SD card. So go to SD card, and we're going to be popped up with a selection of the games we added. Right now, I cannot figure out how to get, the little snaps or screenshots on there. I've read some people said, hey, just put an image, with the same exact name, PNG, file extension, file format, and you should be good. So I've tried that tons of times. I cannot get any images to come up, so I'm not 100% if that's the way to do it or if there's something more to it. And yes, I've tried multiple resolutions. I've tried a handful of things. So if anybody knows how to get images onto this, let me know. It's not a deal breaker at the moment, but it would be a little nicer to have the images on there. So going through, you're going to have the same access to functions as you would with the games that are originally on here. You can press select, change it to original or full screen. You can change the buttons, how they function, all that good stuff. So to get in a game, press start or A. Game boots right up. Pretty simple and works just like it should. Select as coins, start as, start the game. pretty awesome. I'm really glad that this works and is very simple. Like I said, it'd be neat if we can get the images on there, and I'm sure we could. There might be just something I'm doing wrong, but I've seriously spent like the last hour trying to figure out getting, image snaps on there, and have not had any luck yet. I'm not going to give up, but I think I might be doing something wrong. So to exit out of the game, select and start just like the original games. Return to main menu, and there we go. So all these games, everything's working. Marvel vs. Capcom works just fine. Seems like it's full speed. Same thing with X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I'm really amazed and impressed with the emulation on the system for these arcade games. It is super impressive to me. So just peep it out. Let's see. Now with some of these games you may want to, change up your buttons, and that's as simple as just select and start, going down the button mapping, selecting player 1, and then just hitting A on, whatever, and then pressing the button you want it to register as. And that's pretty simple. And you can go into clear, and it will clear what you did, and then you can just keep it the way it was. So you might have to do that, you might not, but it is pretty sweet that we have that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I believe this is Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time. Pretty awesome. So really cool, low cost option to get a arcade emulator. $60 I don't think is too bad. Some people might rag on that, but I think for what you are getting, the 90 games, 2 controllers, HDMI cable, everything's set up and ready to go. Even if you don't want to hack the system or add games, you're not really hacking anything. I think it's a really good deal. Not for everybody. If you're into Retro-Pi, Raspberry Pi emulation and gaming, then this is not going to be the system for you. I'm into, all sorts of different aspects of gaming, emulation, these little plug-and-plays, original consoles. I don't hate on anybody for the choices that they make. I see a market for this. Previously, when they released the Retrobit Generations, that was a really lame piece of hardware that just was not done well. This definitely, in my eyes, redeems itself, and it's just an added bonus that we can, throw some extra games on here and have some more fun. But definitely cool little system. Chrono Trigger Super Nintendo works just fine. Boots up and everything. You do have that softness though that it's really noticeable for me on Super Nintendo games. Not bad, but it's not blurry. I've already said that, but definitely keep that in mind. Even if you're adding games or you're playing the Super Nintendo games that were included, they do have a little bit of softness to them, more so on the console games than the arcade stuff that I'm noticing. Maybe my eyes are jacked up, I don't know, but definitely pretty sweet. So here we go, The Simpsons. I know a lot of people want to play this, and yes, it works, and it runs beautifully. And if you're going to add The Simpsons, make sure you add the 2-player version so you can select your character. If you add the 4-player version, I think you have to play as Marge as the first player, so that kind of stinks. Unless you want to play as Marge, then that's alright, but the 2-player version is the one you want, so you can select your character. Definitely fun time. So it's cool that we can do this. Kind of stinks that they're not just added to the main menu, or that there's another menu. So in order to get back out of this, unfortunately, I have not figured out a way to just simply press a button and go back to the main games. What I have to do each time is just remove the SD card. So if we back out of this game, get back to the main menu here, nothing I press takes me back. Select just takes you into the settings for the game. Start starts the game. A starts the game. There's not really anything that I'm seeing to take you back. So simply remove the card. And it is spring loaded, so if you just press the card, it just pops out. And then it, after the card is removed, instantly takes you back to the main menu. And none of this affects anything. You don't lose any of your saves or any of your configurations or anything like that. So I don't think there's anything to worry about doing this. Pretty sweet stuff. I know a lot of people have been asking about controller compatibility as far as using other controls, and I have been taking a look at that, and surprisingly, there's a good number of controllers that work, but then there's a good number of controllers that don't. So I'll probably be reporting on that in the near future. My findings, what controllers I find work well and what ones don't work at all. So hopefully that'll be more of a help to those of you who are interested in this. So with that said, guys, appreciate you popping in, peeping this out. Very simple, easy to do. Makes this little console have a little more bang for its buck, I guess you would say. So smash that like button, subscribe if you have not done so already, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on everything going on, and I will catch y'all next time. Boom! Peace out, guys.